Okay. Yeah, this is actually just now coming into our Live Impact News studio, so I just happened to notice it, and I wanted to make sure that we were bringing folks the very latest, and we're going to gather some more information. Just give us a couple of moments.
We can bring it up right here.
Okay.
It's a,
I'm going to get your mic on.
yeah. This is out of Fairfax County, Virginia. Right now, our NBC affiliate station is currently monitoring a possible shooting there in the road. So you can see the police response. You can see it looks like there's some debris from that car there. And we're at Fairfax County, Virginia. I'm working on putting up this super here.
Oh my. Okay, so Jeb, I am getting some updates here from our sister station, WUSA. Is this where the feed is coming from, by the way?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Well, this is coming from WRC, but
Got it.
From same
Okay.
helicopter.
So unfortunately, we are seeing 2 officers have been shot. This is information, once again, coming from WUSA, our sister station in that area, Fairfax County, Virginia, specifically Fair Oaks. That's more specific than the community that we're speaking of. We're seeing 2 officers shot during a traffic stop. This happened today. As you can see, a pretty active scene, as our producer Jeb pointed out. Looks like they have got the crime scene tape up, and even a vehicle, perhaps the vehicle in question, there in the roadway. And we're hearing, in addition to the 2 officers who were injured with this shooting, it looks like a 3rd person has been taken to the hospital. It's not clear if that person is the suspect or if it was another person who was involved in this scene. But police can actually confirm that there is a suspect in custody. But once again, we don't know if that person in custody is also the 3rd person who went to the hospital. If you're familiar with this area, this is Majestic Lane near Greenbriar. This is Fair Oaks, Virginia, as we mentioned before, so Fairfax County. And if I could share a little bit more of the information we're getting about the officer injuries, it sounds like the injuries are not life-threatening. Now, I mean, that isn't to say that they aren't serious of nature or anything like that, but it sounds like there is an imminent threat of death because of these injuries from this shooting for these police officers. We note that, of course, what we're seeing live here, that there are some closures in this area. Once again, for folks who are familiar with this part of Fairfax County, this part of Virginia, Majestic Lane is going to be closed between Route 50 and Meadow Hill Lane. Police asking folks to avoid that area. Now, unfortunately, what we're seeing for law enforcement in this area, and really just the community at large, our team out that way is reporting that this isn't the first incidents of violence that has prompted a large police presence today. In fact, Fairfax officers had to go to a high school after a student was stabbed. And for a while, actually, in the background here on Live Impact News, we were watching our feeds to see if we saw anything about that incident. And so we do have a few more details to share about that situation. It sounded like there was a fight amongst students, and a 15-year-old stabbed a 16-year-old inside West Potomac High School. That happened early this morning. A student resource officer arrived there pretty promptly after, followed by police, and so we're waiting to hear more on that. But really, sounds like a very chaotic day for Fairfax County, the law enforcement there, for the community at large, certainly stirred by what happened at the high school earlier today, only to be followed up by this shooting scene that we are seeing live here on Live Impact News. We're getting close here towards the quarter hour of, before we switch over to our evening newscast for folks who are just joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. We'll monitor this as long as we can and get you updates as much as we can as stuff comes into our newsroom. But, be assured that any new details we get that come within the 4 o'clock hour, so beyond our time here on Live Impact News, you'll be able to find that on our evening newscasts. What we do pretty seamless switch over to our evening news team on the desk at 4 o'clock, and so we'll try to keep you as abreast of the situation as we can throughout the evening. Just to recap what we've seen here, as we see law enforcement circling around this one car there on the shoulder of the roadway, and obviously road closures in place here. This was a traffic stop. This was the Fair Oaks area, Fairfax County, Virginia. and unfortunately 2 officers have been shot. We are hearing from police out there that fortunately these are not life-threatening injuries, but they are injuries nonetheless, and also, just to top it off, a very scary situation for law enforcement to have to deal with that, and for the community at large. We know a 3rd person has gone to the hospital. We don't know if that person is the suspect or if it's another person who just happened to be involved with the scene. But we do know that there is a suspect in custody, according to police. We've painted the picture of where this is. We talked about, Majestic Lane being called out as this area of concern. We are hearing from our producer, Jeb, that this does appear, based on what we're seeing with mapping in the area, to be a pretty dense shopping and residential area. It is near Greenbriar Town Center, and it looks like, this would be an area that we have folks passing through a lot this time of day, particularly as we're here getting close to 4 o'clock. Usually the evening rush, for a lot of communities nationwide can get started around 4, with the heart kind of rising around 5 o'clock. But we are pulling up some perspective for you as far as mapping, which we'll bring to you as soon as we can get that prepared. But we've got some delays, as you can expect, in the area with the blockages that we're seeing. So our producer Jeb showing us here. Yeah, okay. So thanks for doing that. Jeb is showing us the mapping between not only the scene there, which you see on the left-hand side of your screen, so that's the left dot, and then as you move towards the east, closer towards Alexandria, the right dot is actually the high school that we mentioned, where there was actually a stabbing earlier today. And, we talked about, for Fairfax County in general, this seems to be a very chaotic and probably a sad day. I would think, that whenever you have chaos in your community like that, you hear about law enforcement getting injured, while they're just trying to do their jobs. I mean, that always, hits your heart. And then, of course, the stabbing that we talked about that happened at a high school, one student reportedly stabbing another this morning just before 10 o'clock. This community has been through a lot today. As we're seeing here, some of these live aerials, did want to point out, it looks like we're seeing maybe multiple agencies, just based on, some of the uniforms that I'm seeing out there. And it looks like they've got potentially, crime scene investigators, along with, either officers, or they could be troopers who might be responding to the scene. The vehicle itself, I'm seeing a lot of debris around it.
Right, it's weird. I'm looking at, what is that over the front left tire? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's what I keep looking at.
And again, we're seeing this literally from, hundreds of feet in the air. But it almost looks like, a dollar's going to roll into the car. It could be a shield. I mean, it's just a very, very interesting. And the debris, if you look at, it's kind of the left of the car, if you're coming towards the car on our right, what is that? That is so, it almost looks like they threw it from the car. It doesn't look like it came from the car.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's items from the car.
Right.
Or, once again, it's tough to see from this angle. It almost looks like, I don't know if they had a backpack that had stuff in it.
Right, maybe they dumped it out.
And it got dumped out.
Because you could see over there was a backpack.
Leaning on the tire.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of questions, but it does, when you see a lot of debris, kind of paint a chaotic scene.
Right. I mean, I can only imagine. They may have been searching for. I mean, again, this is all speculation, but they may have had reasonable cause to go through a bag, search for things, and the situation may have escalated from there. Again, we don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get some more information from police. Okay.
Let me see if we can hear.
I'm just checking the Fairfax County police feeds just to make sure that they haven't put out any new information.
Right.
Looks like what we're seeing there is the same that we've just brought folks a few moments ago. Let's see, 4,000 block, Majestic Lane near Greenbriar. 2 officers shot while conducting a traffic stop, transported to a hospital, non-life-threatening condition, suspect in custody. Majestic Lane closed between Route 50 and Meadow Hill Lane. Use an alternate route. So I'll keep this feed up, just make sure that we're getting the very latest for folks watching at home.
And I've got a couple updates as well here. So according to NBC4 in Washington, it looks like the debris on the side is medical equipment. That's what their reporters are saying. So that may have been used on the officers who've been shot. The other thing we're learning within the last minute is Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis is expected to speak soon.
Okay.
So we don't know when, we don't know what he's going to say, but police are saying they will be addressing the shooting soon.
Okay. And we'll just remind folks here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I know I mentioned this a moment ago, but we are getting close to our switch over to the evening news. We do plan on keeping you posted on this, even if the, police chief arrives after 4 o'clock. We will get that in our shows in the evening newscast to make sure that you're staying up to date. We don't want to leave you hanging. We realize that this is a tough scene to see and to hear that 2 officers are shot and are trying to recover now. And there's just a lot of questions. We don't want to leave you hanging on that front. But it's certainly a developing situation here, and one where, as our producer Jeb pointed out, we are expecting some additional information not too far in the future. We will obviously keep an eye on how the scene itself plays out, because obviously we're getting close to the evening rush, and they are still in full investigation mode here. I mean, I'm just watching this crime scene officer, going through the car, taking pictures.
Anytime soon.
Yeah, this will probably, if I had to guess, probably take us into the heart of the rush hour commute for, those folks that travel through that area. And Jeb, you pointed out the fact that there are shops around here. It looks like they might have residences. I don't know if those are apartments or townhomes.
Yeah, it looks like residences maybe on that far right, or excuse me, shops on that far right, and then apartments kind of on the left there.
Yeah, so people might be hopefully not hindered in getting home as well, but it looks like there could be some blockages to the actual community there that we're seeing on the left-hand side. And, I'm sure for folks trying to maybe access the shops, there could be some difficulties there as well. It's a very large scene. Looks like they've got, as far as the crime scene tape, it's spanning beyond the block at this point. We see it up in the parking lots.
Yeah.
And all of those law enforcement vehicles, large and small. Look like they even had a heavy duty truck out there. I'm not sure what that was for,
Yeah,
but
I think I may have seen, and again, I don't know the Fairfax County police force particularly well, but it looked like a mobile command unit.
That's what I was
That
thinking.
was a very large.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say SWAT, but it was definitely, a special vehicle that they bring out perhaps for a situation like this. There you can see kind of a better look as the chopper is zooming out, and full blockage there of the roadway. And as we pointed out, perhaps a mobile command unit. We're not quite sure, but it's going to be just to the north, or I don't know which way we're oriented, but to the top of that crime scene tape across the road. It looks like they even have like a mast up.
Yeah, I mean, that whatever it is.
Like a live truck, but it doesn't look like a news live truck to me. It looks like a police truck.
I definitely think it's. I agree, but I have no idea what it would be. We're getting a better look at the community now.
Yeah, so those are the shops in question. It does look like that there are some blockages to that, to the commercial area as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars there. I mean,
what a scary situation.
Gosh, this is so close to so
It's really
many
heart-stopping to get updates like that. Getting close to the 4 o'clock hour. I know we probably have new folks who are joining us here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Perhaps you're getting ready to settle into the 4 o'clock news and you're joining us early, or maybe you're just popping us on, which we appreciate you coming and joining us. We wanted to get you up to speed with what we're seeing right now. We've got live aerials from Fair Oaks, Virginia. This is Fairfax County, Virginia. A little bit it looked like to the west of the Alexandria area, to the west of Arlington, to kind of paint a picture of the general location where we're looking live right now. There was a traffic stop we're hearing that resulted in 2 officers getting shot. There is a third person in addition to the officers who is getting medical treatment at a hospital, we don't know if it's the suspect, but we know that a suspect is in custody. This is the 4000 block of Majestic Lane. And you can see, there we've popped up the, not only the roads, but, the perspective we're giving you is the left dot on this map is the shooting scene that we're seeing the live aerials of right now. We were just a moment ago. And then the right-hand side is a high school where there was actually a stabbing. And so all of this happening in Fairfax County all today.
Minutes apart.
Yeah, it's a tough day for folks there, just because, not only are we dealing with this here this afternoon, but it sounds like this morning there was a fight that happened at a school, West Potomac High School. And there was a 15-year-old who police say stabbed a 16-year-old inside the school, and a student resource officer was able to intervene, and then police ended up having to show up. So the police chief, I think you said his name was Kevin Davis,
yes.
Jeb, because you mentioned that police chief Kevin Davis is coming to give a media update on the shooting scene that we're seeing from the sky right now. But he was just over at the high school just a few hours ago, talking about what happens there and having officers have to respond to that scene.
Right.
So police here have been all over the place. And
what do you think that is? They have this car. I guess I didn't realize
Yeah.
that before. I mean, they have this car.
That's a great call out, Jeb. Yeah, so there's a silver car for folks who are looking towards the left top of the screen
right
now.
under the lights.
And it's under the traffic signals, and we're about to lose it, but it's roped off with crime scene tape. And I don't know if that's a second vehicle that was involved.
Right.
I'm not positive, but it's obviously blocked off for a reason.
Right. I mean, they established a pretty set perimeter there.
Yeah, so we have that car, which once again is out of frame at this point. We now have fully here in the shot this, what we think is the primary vehicle, just
Right.
based on how much activity, police activity we're seeing around it. And now, as the scene has kind of evolved and we're watching them do the investigation, it does look like they're scouring that car. And I don't know what they're looking for, but when we first brought you in here on Live Impact News, all of the car doors were shut. Now they're all open, and we have investigators
Combing through.
scouring this car, taking pictures, trying to get all the angles.
Is that a gun on the top of the car? Is that what that is?
It looks like there could be a firearm on top of the vehicle. I don't know if that is suspect related or if that is an officer gun.
I mean, it certainly looks like a gun.
It looks like a firearm.
Be a very odd place to put that. I mean, again, I don't know the general routine for investigations like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know whose firearm that
Right.
is. And then, as we alluded to, Jeb was able to find some information about all the debris. And actually, I can see it now. It looks like the terminology is going to be off. I apologize, but looks like there's a ventilator,
Yeah.
or what the medic might use
I'm
as
seeing
a
some scissors
respirator.
that they cut gauze with.
Yeah, this is all medical equipment. And this is coming from reporting from another one of our affiliates out in this area. And so just keep in mind, obviously, because this is Virginia, it's the DMV area, so you might have different markets of news reporting on this right now, since it's, not too far from DC. It's, as we talked about, it's west of DC, west of Arlington, north and west of Alexandria is where this is going on. And yeah, there are a lot of folks who are taking an interest in what's going on. So we have a few minutes left here, folks. We're going to continue to scour our feeds to make sure that we're not missing any new information, so just bear with us. As I talked about before here on Live Impact News, 4 o'clock we switch over to our evening team, so you can stay up to date on the very latest, not just this situation, but also some of our bigger headlines that we've been following throughout the day as we recap everything on our 4 o'clock news. So if you keep it here on WCNC Plus, you'll be sure to get those updates during the evening news. And if we have some new folks who are kind of just discovering this concept from us, we're very excited about this. This is very unique in the sense that we've never done anything like this before, but we think that it holds a lot of value for you to be able to see these raw, unedited feeds like this and to kind of learn about stories as they come into our newsroom and learn details as they come into our newsroom, just moments after they come in. So we're going to keep an eye on the feed. It looks like we might be seeing a little bit of freezing. We've had some issues, so we apologize with some of our feeds today. And so we're going to sit on this for just a moment. Okay, we've lost it. We'll get you back there in just a second as soon as we get the feedback. But, we just wanted to talk about the fact that not only would you expect, if you kept it here on WCNC Plus, our evening news update, but right at 7 o'clock, we're back here. So Jeb and I are back here 7 to 9, and we'll be bringing you everything that's happening this evening. This has been really a special endeavor for us to be able to, share news with you just like we are here in this raw, unedited form. We are trying to see if we're getting any new information here from police. We are expecting an update from the police chief once again. We don't have an ETA for his arrival there on the scene, but we do hope to get you updates and any, okay, we got the feedback. Thank you. Okay. So we will be bringing you, at the very least, details from that. If there's a way for us to bring it to you live, we will. We'll try. But yeah, well, there we're seeing a closer look now. That is indeed an incident command unit. So, sometimes we see if police are expecting to be on scene for a while, they might set something up like this, just so crews have a bit of a home base. So, this is definitely indicating to us that this is probably going to be a closure for a few hours. They got a second mobile forensic lab that's showing up here, so I would just, if you know anyone in that area, I'd probably tell them that this is going to be a closure for a bit. Police are definitely hunkering down in this area. And, obviously with 2 officers shot, we'll be doing their due diligence to try to make sure they're gathering all the evidence that they can in this scene. I see something new in live, Jeb, in a different feed.
Jersey really quickly before we leave?
Yeah, before we turn the page here to our 4 o'clock news, we just wanted to quickly pop back to New Jersey.